Hello and welcome back to another draft coming from Tier Zero Gamings with Mike. We're doing our second recorded draft of Modern Horizons 3. I'm joined today by Chris Wolfe. You'll hear me call him Wolf a lot.
So hype. I'm ready. Let's do it.
So we're starting off where we left off, low, middle of gold. I don't remember exactly where it was. We got the 5-3 with the last one, so a free roll draft, nothing terribly exciting, and looking to do a little bit better with this one. Have you drafted a lot of this set, Wolf?
I really haven't touched this set as much as I wish I kind of had.
Okay.
Every time it's like time to draft, it's usually like 11 o'clock at night, and I pick up my iPad, and I'm like, I want to play some Domino creativity.
Okay.
And then,
okay.
And then I go, I don't want to play this deck anymore. I want to go draft.
No, that tracks. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'm very partial to limited, as I'm sure you know. I definitely prefer limited over most formats. If I'm not playing limited, I'm probably playing modern, and I can't do that on arena.
Yeah.
So
I think there's a big thing where people go through a little bit of progression in their Magic career. Like, you get a lot of people that are just like, I like Commander, and then I want to make a big green stompy deck, and then they start going through and, what's this constructed formats? I've never heard of those.
Right.
And then eventually a lot of people will land or start in limited.
Okay, so that pack one, pick one, we took the Kozilek's Command over the Horrific Assault. I think, honestly, Draftsmith has it right. And again, for those who haven't seen the last one and don't know what these strange numbers are on the bottom of the cards, it's a tool called Draftsmith. It's a good job of helping evaluate cards. It is just a tool, though.
Yeah.
Not the end-all, be-all.
The player is a lot better.
So it is good for helping you determine what you're looking at, but definitely not the end of the line. So we took the Kozilek's Command, pack one, pick one, over the Horrific Assault. Certainly justifiable to think either way, but again, these are early drafts for me, and I want to take the splashy rares first, because I want to get some experience under them. Horrific Assault being a common,
so
I know that I'm going to get to draft that card a lot as I continue to draft, so I want to find out just how powerful some of these good-looking rares are.
A lot of the commons have been a little bit all-stars to me. It's there's a what the technique of the signpost uncommon, and it feels like this set has a lot of signpost commons.
Writhing Chrysalis being one of the top win rate cards in the set, and it's a
the
common.
Gruul one?
The Gruul common,
Yeah.
So pick two, we took the Wumpus Aberration, just a very good card, just 4 mana 6/6. Realistically, no drawback if you're building your deck the way this archetype wants you to build it. Pay a colorless mana and you just have a 6/6 with trample for 4 the end. Looking here, this pack is kind of medium with the exception of the Nightshade Dryad. Does kind of everything we're looking to do with our first couple picks. It is more ramp. It is fixes for our colorless so we can cast the Kozilek's Command, gets us to everything earlier, and the green-based Eldrazi deck is probably one of the best decks, if not the best deck in the format.
I feel like that's a fair assumption, because as soon as it gets rolling, it's really difficult to stop.
Yeah.
And even having
so we had the choice between the Wumpus Aberration and the Turtle there. We went with the Wumpus Aberration here, even though it's a similar power level, largely so that we just stay green. Right now, we're just kind of staying open. We know that we want to be green. We want to cut off the best green cards in the pack. And we also know that we want a colorless sub-theme here. So just grabbing these big hitter cards so that hopefully we get paid off in pack 2 is kind of the goal. Fifth pick, Breaker of Creation here. Just another big Eldrazi colorless payoff. So draft is looking okay from the start.
The thing I always look at is, what is the pack going to give me on the spin back?
Sure, the wheel from the pack itself.
Because occasionally it's, if I take the one green card in here,
then the wheel is going to be a little worse.
Anything.
Sure. While I certainly think that's at least somewhat important to consider, the thing that I generally think about, and for me at least is a little bit more important, is cutting off the color so that you get all of pack 2 to yourself. Because if you cut off a color significantly, then the person that you're passing to, it shouldn't interrupt you in pack 2, and all of the cards coming from that direction should flow through.
This is why I'm not a good drafter. It's the large assortment of, I'm going to pick this card because I like green.
Yeah.
And that level of play pattern is just, I'm a Timmy when I draft. And
Fair enough.
And I mean, like, I'm a good Johnny when I
Sure.
construct.
So this pick, that was a very late Galvanic Discharge that I very much could have considered. I really honestly feel like, well, not even just Teamer Wig, but this Serum Visionary doesn't need to be in the deck, right? We have a blue card, but everything else is mono green so far, or green and colorless.
Yeah.
So we could have very easily taken that Galvanic Discharge.
Yeah.
And in hindsight, like now that I've done many more drafts, it's certainly plausible that I should have taken the Discharge there and just like tried to move into the Gruul deck.
Yeah.
But, you know, here we are. We took another green card. We are hard cutting off green. We rare drafted Akalia because there was nothing there. This Glimpse the Impossible is certainly a card that we'd be willing to play. Yeah, I'm glad I moved it into my playables pile there. Molten Gatekeeper or Tune the Narrative. Molten Gatekeeper better in the Eldrazi shell. Yeah, Winter Moon, Inspired Inventor, we're not playing any of these. Give me the rare draft, give me the gems for later. Same with the Strix Serenade.
Free
like, we can
right
take
there.
the Foul Strike, but, like, we're not trying to play that card if we're honest.
Do you put I was about to say, do you put the mountains in if you get a land
Nah.
the draft?
No, I'm going to let Arena use the lands that I actually like.
That's cool.
So, yeah, this pack, we have the Wooded Foothills that we could look at. You know, right now we know that we're green. We could be red. We could be blue. We did let that Galvanic Discharge go very, very late, which means it's less likely that we see red coming through this way. And this, what is this thing? Escape? What is this?
Wasescape.
Okay.
That's a guy.
Yeah.
That
anyway,
sure
I know what the
is-
card does, and
I
it's
think
very good.
It looks
but
like a
man,
signpost uncommon to me.
have I not pronounced that name before?
So, thoughts about color fixing in pulling a Wooded Foothills, for
Sure.
example, right?
So I'm
Yeah.
perfectly happy to take fetch lands when they feel like they're applicable. In this case, because I'm trying to have all these colorless spells in my deck, I actually want the landscapes more so than I want the true fetches.
Okay.
For this archetype,
Yeah,
I
because
think.
those also have cycling to draw a card late in the game.
Yeah,
but also have colorless when you need them.
Yeah, and the fact that they tap for colorless, like they just tap for mana the turn they come into play, has been
That's super
real
cool.
interesting
Yeah.
in this format.
It's an untapped colorless source, and it's not a rare.
Right. This pack, not really giving us much to look at. The Emrakul's Messenger and the Twisted Riddle Keeper are the two best cards. Draftsmith noting both of them higher. We have the Serum Visionary that lets us draw an extra card already, and honestly, the 8-drop isn't necessarily what we're looking for, and happy to take the Messenger over the Riddle Keeper. And now seeing this Depth Defiler, which is one of the better uncommons in the set anyway, coming through. You saw me move the red cards to the sideboard. We're probably moving in on Simic here.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like.
Yeah, not, a non-zero chance we still splash. There's still plenty of drafting to go. But again, with that late Galvanic Discharge that we did pass, and then seeing these blue cards coming in, in pack 2.
Yeah, because you're probably going to pick up at least one or two of these on the spin around.
Yeah, potentially. I'd be reasonably happy with a couple of those coming back. The Myco Spawn here, the rare, we got the Brood Scale. So cutting off green in pack 1 is, kind of showing here where these green cards are coming through 3rd, 4th, 5th pick.
So you cut off for the left-hand player, so he's not in green.
Exactly.
This is drafting 101 that I never really bothered to learn.
Okay,
But
well, maybe I can teach you something.
Hey, you know what? Hey, that's why we hide it in the video,
Yeah,
right?
so pick 4 here, and we're getting, a pretty solid green rare. Again, not the best rare in the set by any stretch, but a very powerful 4-drop. Always going to ramp me, and sometimes going to set my opponent back a land as well.
And I mean, like, a rare is not necessarily even a good card in draft, but sometimes it's a bomb in draft and terrible out in constructed.
Yeah, this one not the case. This one's actually better in constructed than in draft, I think.
Kind of depends on the card, depends on a lot of things.
But yeah, so we have the Emrakul's Messenger. A second Serum Visions I'm pretty okay with. I do need to start picking up some of these landscapes at some
That's
point.
actually Serum Visions on a dude.
Yes.
Yeah.
Serum Vision's on a dude.
It's the man himself.
Yep.
The visionary.
So this is a pretty late Fanged Flames, definitely making me consider whether or not I should have some of these red cards or maybe be 3-color again. From the last video, we wound up in the Teamer Eldrazi deck, and we were a little bit more stuck on all 3 colors than I wished we were in the last draft.
Yeah, that's not great.
And this time, yeah, I think I'm just trying to be a little bit disciplined, even though the Fanged Flames is the better card. I think, with the
Tune as the pick.
yeah, we
was-
just want to be consistent is what we're looking to do with this pick.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to have a draft where I stay in my lane, even if there's a couple late cards that maybe I should have taken.
This is reminding me heavily of the other day when I was drafting here at Tier 0, and I think I said out loud, "Man, everyone's in my colors except for me."
Yeah.
And it was like I was late in a Rakdos deck, and I was like, I'll splash for green just in case I need to. And that was the wrong decision because I think I passed on a Calamity in Outlaws of Thunder Junction.
Oh, yeah, don't do that.
And that was a mistake because I then exiled it in game 1 and then got killed by it in game 2.
Excellent.
So that
Perfect.
was fun.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's
I
what
learned
you
my
want right
lesson.
there. Not looking at a whole lot here. We grabbed the Landscape, which, I said I wanted to pick up probably a couple more of those. Reform is fine if we're going to grind out some games.
Yeah.
2 of them probably, 1 too many. Here's some options. The
that
Demon Inferior as
Shapeshifter's-
like a reasonable removal spell, the Shapeshifter that, throw back to all the different things. Honestly, that Shapeshifter just being a 4-mana 3/3 flyer is sometimes just good enough. But right now, I don't have very much interaction, and the Demon Inferior is kind of exactly what we're looking to pick up.
Interaction is like one of those things. 'cause
Amusingly,
if
that's
you-
the second Kalia we just threw in our rare bin
It's so
over
true.
there.
It must not be good in draft because no one's picking it.
No, it is certainly not. And Ocelot Pride, one of the better cards here in the format, but obviously we're nowhere close to trying to cast a one white mana.
No. That's not
So
happening.
pack 3 opening the Ocelot Pride is a little sad,
Ooh,
but
yeah.
this Titan's Vanguard, as I'm sure many of you know, is absolutely bonkers. Like, this is one of the best uncommons in the set. Amusingly enough,
Do you hate draft cards like these?
you never hate draft.
It's too good. and you
Never
just-
hate draft. Never hate draft. Especially not when you're playing, first of all, hate drafting is just making your deck worse, and the odds of you playing against the person that you're taking a card away from
great
is so
point.
minuscule that it's not worth doing. And secondly, on Arena, you're playing in leagues. So we wound up with a repurposer there. I think I was flipping around, and I was about to switch back to the Titans Vanguard, and didn't in time.
Yeah.
That said, I'm very happy to have the repurposer. It fills in everything what I'm trying to do in this deck. But I kind of wish I had taken the Vanguard and just splashed even just that one red card because of how colorless heavy this deck is. That Titan's Vanguard is nuts, and I kind of wish I had it. But
Played that Annoyed Altasaur.
yeah, this one's
Modern
pretty
today.
close for me. Annoyed Altasaur versus the Ravager here. I took the Ravager.
Because it cycles, it draws card.
It cycles. I can sacrifice some of the spawn to get it back.
Yeah.
It's just a big dumb idiot that I can play multiple times in a game.
Which in limited is just like I have this thing that keeps coming back,
and it has Annihilator. Like it's
yeah.
it's certainly a card that I'm happy to have. It's very close between it and the Altasaur. Altasaur just getting immediate value and just being a
Cascade.
big body with
I
trample.
love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I built Tron Cascade today,
Sure.
and it was amazing.
So this pick
not great,
is
no.
interesting. The Drownyard Lurker versus the Serum Visionary, and then there's the Malevolent Rumble there, which I maybe should have considered more. Great to have this horrific assault. I took the 7-drop, the Drownyard Lurker, over the 3rd Serum Visionary, which I certainly think is correct. I just want some more big bodies, something that I can cycle to make sure that I'm hitting my land drops and everything. But the Malevolent Rumble was certainly also worth considering out of those 3.
Scalable Hydra right there. That could be any size.
I'm a big fan of this Hydra. And I might overrate it just a little bit, but I really like its ability to just close out games.
Yeah.
The fact that you can just slap that thing on like an Eldrazi spawn,
Big guy.
and suddenly you have a threat that your
And it
opponent has to
immediately is
answer,
attacking.
and
Yeah.
then if they
yeah.
do answer it, you still have the Hydra left over.
That is
Getting
how
this
Bestow
8th
works,
pick
yeah.
Horrific Assault here
Yeah.
out of pack 3, and that's the second
great.
Horrific Assault, and we got both of them in this pack. Really feel like the deck kind of came together here at the end. So very happy to have that. We're grabbing this Landscape, I think, even though it's only one of our 2 colors over the Planner, just because we want the extra colorless sources. I'm a little concerned with, how many colorless pips we have in our deck.
Yeah, I totally support that. That's good. It's good deck building. Colorless is like another.
It almost
mana
is,
pip.
yeah.
It's like a third color, and I was trying to build a 5-color commander deck,
Sure.
and you need to have colorless land pips, because if you just build standard ways, shocks, fetches, you're gonna run into that issue where it's like, well, I have a bunch of colorless sources, but they're in the deck somewhere, and now I can't cast out my cards.
Sure. So our curve is looking pretty good. No real complaints. We're over on playables, which is nice. I think I just cut a Malevolent Rumble, which kind of demonstrates how new to this format I am, because that card is kind of an all-star.
It slices, it dices,
It finds
Yeah.
you your stuff. It throws your Eldrazi Ravager in the graveyard so you can get it back later.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, again, this was early in the drafts for me. My second one, I think, or second one I recorded, but maybe third or fourth one total.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
That plane's gonna get a lot of use.
Oh yeah, 100%. Not in this deck or any other deck.
Oh yeah.
As you can see, we default to Theros over here.
I have a
So,
whole
yeah,
draft recommendation. Look at
Yeah,
that.
so Draftsmith, like I said, is one of the things that it does is it gives you the kind of aggregate score of cards. It's also
Is this based off of other people's data?
it pulls off of the collective data of everybody that uses it. So the win rates, what gets reported, and then it also scales based on the picks you've already taken. So it'll weight the picks you have versus the power of a card, like the aggregate, and it'll kind of recommend based on that. So you saw the Ocelot Pride was there, but it was a lower score than the other card, than some of the other cards.
Because it sees that you're not drafting
Exactly.
white,
So it
and
understands
goes,
that
maybe don't poke into white.
Yeah, like this card's really good. Also, you're gonna have trouble casting it. So Draftsmith here, and you can see that I pulled the Tamiyo meets the Story Circle off to the side because like I just kind of have it, but I don't really want to play it. And the Malevolent Rumble back into the deck, which is likely going to be just a quick swap that I'm going to make anyway. But Draftsmith obviously recommending it, and I very much agreed. I don't think I really argued with Draftsmith on this one like at all. I think like my playable count was basically right on, cutting one of the Reef Worms, which we mentioned during the draft. I don't really want the second one anyway.
Yeah.
And then basically just understanding that Malevolent Rumble is going to be better than Tamiyo. Tamiyo meets the Story Circle.
Reef Worms are a body, and that's all I think of them as.
Yeah, but it's a 4-mana body that takes a long time before it matters.
It sure does block, though.
It does block.
Yeah,
that
I've watched
requires
that.
my opponent to actually care about attacking me on the ground, though.
I've watched that card oftentimes just eat blockers, and they keep going up. Yeah, okay.
No, it got bigger. Keeps getting bigger.
It's larger.
Yeah, the problem is like the rest of my 4-drops are like 6/6s with trample.
Oh no, that's way better. but like Reform sure does make them attack you a whole bunch.
I guess.
Maybe I'm playing at lower level drafts.
Maybe
I think
so,
that's probably
maybe.
what's happening. 'Cause there's
we're
definitely moments where people are they're reading the cards and they're taking forever to go, and it's like, what is going on here?
Sure.
And then they make the worst misplay I've ever seen. It's
Yeah.
like not like I'm playing perfectly here, but
that was bad.
that was pretty bad.
Fair. So this hand is not exciting, but fine. We do have both of our colors. We do have to get rid of our landscape, so we do lose the colorless.
that's what
but
I'm saying is
we have the Brood Scale, which is going to then remake a spawn, which gives us our colorless.
Oh, baby, this has lands. I love it.
As opposed to this hand where we're kind of like just put a forest back and then cycle a Ravager and hope to find something better. This hand is fine. The first hand was fine. Neither one's exciting. I think I'm keeping this one.
Yeah.
So we're just going to go land pass and then likely land cycle on turn 2 unless we draw a good 2-drop like the Dryad or something similar.
Oh, yeah.
But Yeah, that is not a 2-drop.
6, 7, 8. Oh,
So yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and cycle this guy. We'll get him back later anyway.
yeah. As I say,
Opponent
you need
leaving
mana
up.
to cast spells. So
Sure.
so starting like I'm happy with any hand that has mana in it.
Sure.
Because at a certain point, while Screw does beat Flood, it really does feel bad when you're just
both
sitting
of you
there.
hit your land drops and you're both
Yeah. So I wouldn't just mana screw myself on purpose with a questionable hand.
That's fair. So notably here we
That's removal.
got to cycle on turn 2, so if our opponent did have Aether Spike, they didn't get to use it. Unfortunately, we had nothing to do on turn 3, which kind of sucks. But we're not, like, in a rush, per se. We also don't have any action in our hand. So I'm not thrilled with where we're sitting at here, and this was kind of the downside to keeping the lands plus nothing.
Yeah, you just end up kind of doing not a lot,
Right.
and hoping that your opponent doesn't just
Do enough.
have a
Yeah.
win.
So, like, if my opponent was on the Burrows deck, for example, we'd
they're-
probably just be dead.
If they're fast, it's pretty decisive at that point.
Yeah.
But at the very least, if you do top deck anything, you probably could cast it.
Yeah. This is not like a hyper aggressive start from our opponent, but it's certainly not a bad start either. So we're going to put this utter insignificance just so we do something this turn. The downside is it already got the prowess trigger, which means it's going to be attacking for 2, even though it should be a 1/1. They get the trigger here. They get to make a golem. Like, none of this is particularly good for me. It's just not the worst either.
Yeah, it's only a 2/2.
It's about to be a 1/1. And then we draw, a 6/6 with trample, and our opponent tapped down to 1 mana, so we're pretty happy.
That's pretty good.
They can Galvanic Discharge it. They
Yeah.
do have the 4 energy stocked up already, but assuming...
Oh, that's right, because it gives you a 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But assuming they don't, we just kind of have this big dumb idiot now.
Bonk.
And,
Bonk.
yeah.
1/1 v6/6.
They sure are getting priority,
Yep.
which seems real bad for my guy. And there's the discharge.
There it goes.
So, the good news is they blew all their energy, which means that the Ironworks can't make a golem, and now we're under basically no pressure.
That's pretty good.
So, it was a 1-for-1. It was a very good mana advantage exchange for our opponent, but at least we're not under any pressure.
Yeah.
Pinnacle Monk to get back discharge is nice.
That's pretty neat. Man, Red can do that now?
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
So, very happy to draw the second colorless source. It turns our Kozilek's command online. So we
Kozilek's
have
command, just like what's the other one? The one that no one can ever name all the modes.
Cryptic Command?
Cryptic command.
Oh.
Name every mode of cryptic command. I don't know. Right?
A lot of people can.
A lot of people can.
I'm old.
Maybe
I
it's
know
just
these
me.
cards. It's okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
Counterbounce
How tell you're a bad Magic player?
Counterbounce tap draw.
Name every mode of cryptic command. I can't.
No.
I don't know.
All right.
I
So
haven't been able to.
opponent using all of getting to use their energy again. I didn't see what the. Yeah. Okay.
That's
Very happy that they were 1 energy short.
good.
Good job 6/6 for making them eat their energy.
Eating energy. That's what we do here.
So right here, what I'm potentially looking to set up is we can K-command for 3 here. We can't get rid of the Pinnacle Monk, obviously, but what we can do is get rid of this Amped Raptor and make 3 Scions, which then lets us cast our Breaker. It's 8 mana. We have
next
6.
turn you
we
turn
have 5 in
into-
play, and we can use the Scions to cast the Breaker here.
Does that have emerge? Is that?
No, it just I'm going to
Or
if
you
I
just
make
sack
3
them for
Scions,
the-
I
okay.
just make so I won't gain as much life because we're sacking the Scions to cast it. But get rid of one of your things. Target me. Target this Raptor. Targeting the Cyclops doesn't really do anything because we've already got it locked down by the utter insignificance, and we don't have enough mana to target the Pinnacle Monk. So this card notably does have 2 different targets, so opponent can't brick the card by Galvanic discharging their own creature, which is important to note.
Oh, that's right, because they do have a Galvanic discharge.
Yes, that we know about as well.
Yeah.
So this card, opponent tried to save their guy, and they oops here in a second. This card only changes the target of a spell with a single target. And because
Oh,
Kozilek's
no.
command targeted both me and
Oh,
the
no.
creature. Yeah. So we draw land, which actually means we get to keep one of our scions around. So we get to gain an extra life here. So 6 lands plus a scion is 7. So we get to gain 7, go to 21, have an 8/4 hexproof from colors, and Annihilator 2.
I was really considering this in a Tron deck today.
Okay.
In Modern,
Alright.
I was really looking at it and going, I don't know if I'm gonna have enough colorless stuff. And then I forgot that my lands are colorless,
Fair enough.
and that is just how those lands be. They do have no color, and yeah. I don't know. There's just so many fun things you can do with colorless stuff.
Yeah, I didn't check with Auto Tapper here, and I've messed this up. What I was trying to do here, and I needed to double check Auto Tapper, was actually sacrifice all 3 of the spawn tokens because I wanted to play the Breaker and immediately Horrific Assault. And I didn't double check Auto Tapper here, so now I'm sitting here with this landscape that I don't need, sacrifice the Scion that I could have kept, gained 1 less life because of all that, have 1 less blocker because of all that.
That just sounds like Auto Tapper doing its normal thing.
Auto Tapper doing Auto Tapper things.
Yeah.
That said, we are back at 20, and I have no reason to block, with the prowess creature here that they can do literally anything and just trade with my guy.
Yeah, life gain is kind of OP because it just means that you're now starting at, if you've gained 5 life in the course of the game, you basically started the game at 25 life. Plus, you have all these permanents on the board that gave you life gain. So, that's so cool. Oh, you attacked me a few times? Let me just go ahead and nullify all of those.
So we're cracking this landscape. We don't need more than 2 colorless sources ever. So might as well grab another source. Also thin our deck because we didn't really want to draw another land. Naturally, we draw it anyway.
Yep.
It's a broccoli. Yummy, yummy vegetables. So, yeah, what we can do here, we can make sure we gain some life. Let's get rid of this monk. We're just going to kill the thing. Opponent can't really do much about this because of the hexproof from colors. We can activate this to exile. Now they don't have a chump blocker or something to sacrifice to the Annihilator trigger.
So true.
Yeah. We get to get in. We get to bounce the token as well. Get that thing out of here. And then we get to get in after getting multiple permanents out of the way here. So now we have this 8/4. It's got Annihilator. It's hard to target.
We were just waiting to do this.
We really, kind of.
That's great. Yeah, this is the point in which the Galvanic Iteration is sitting back in the hand. He's going, man, why did I get that one back and not something else?
Because there was nothing else to get back. It also was,
literally anything else.
It was a good play at the time.
It was a good play at the time.
So Annihilator 2 here, gonna try to keep our opponent in check with this. They are going to get to draw a bunch of cards next turn, notably, because of the Tamiyo meets the Story Circle. Yeah. This discharge isn't really doing anything, but they have no pressure, no defense, really. That said, by making a bunch of clues, they will have things to sacrifice to Annihilator triggers.
That's so true.
So, yeah.
Oh, there you go.
This Galvanic Discharge not doing much against the Hexproof Breaker. 4 clues gives them plenty of fodder. They can make
you can draw a little bit,
golem. Yeah, they can make a golem with the Ironworks there. So, opponent's certainly not out of this game, but they also haven't found an answer yet to the Breaker.
Yeah, they're definitely on the back foot. It's looking like...
That said, we have no follow-up. If they find a way to deal with the Breaker, we have literal nothing.
That's true.
We have no cards in hand. Hey, look, that's a colorless spell.
That is, in fact, a colorless spell.
Yeah. And now we're sad.
We...
and now we're happy again.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Look at us go.
We're kicking everything. Oh, no. Oh, please stop. He's had enough.
With both kickers.
Oh, no.
We're going to bounce this token. We're going to clear this. All right. So I can target an artifact. Yeah. So I can choose to get rid of the Tamiyo meets the Story Circle, so they can't shuffle stuff back in. Or I can get rid of this Phyrexian Ironworks. That said, they have no energy. I can also... I'm just going to bounce the token, ideally, assuming I read my card correctly, and make sure that I use the correct kicker on the correct target. So really, it's here. I'm just deciding whether I want to get rid of the Phyrexian Ironworks or the Tameo meets the Story
There's
Circle.
Exile and then there's Bounce.
Yeah.
Yep. That sure is a 2/2 bear right there with
Yeah,
extra
it's
abilities.
Grizzly Bear that had some text.
Yeah.
It cleared a 3/3. It cleared a 3/3 and the thing that makes 3/3s. So
That's
it's not bad. They get to shuffle some spells back into their deck. Good for them.
It's pretty neat.
I mean, they get a Fanged Flames and some other stuff back. Yeah, the Pinnacle Monk, Fanged Flames, and a second Tameos. Like, sure.
Yeah.
There they go. They're back in the deck. They're in there somewhere. Opponent still has a bunch of cards to draw, and Ral in the Implicit Maze is a pretty good start.
Ooh, boy. Yeah, that's a board wipe right there.
Yeah, well, board wipe for my one guy.
That's a one-sided board wipe.
It was a very expensive shock.
Yeah.
Too bad it has way more text than that.
Yeah.
So yeah, what do I have in my deck here? What am I drawing to?
At a certain point, you leave the island up and make them think you have something.
Yeah, so like we don't have any spawns.
Yeah.
We haven't drawn any of the things we have that make spawns, so we can't get back this Ravager yet.
Yeah.
We've never had 2 Eldrazi in play to get back the Ravager with. Notably, we would have if we had left that 1 token in play, or whatever, forever turns ago.
If only Auto Tapper hadn't
Yeah,
ruined your plans 5 turns.
Auto
from now.
Tapper didn't ruin my plan necessarily. We kind of got to do all the things anyway, and that wouldn't have saved the token. We would have sacrificed the token so that we could have used our green mana that turn. So, at this point, we only need 1 colorless source in play. Our Kozilek's command is spent. Our Breaker is exiled. So, literally, as long as we keep 1 colorless land around, we can cast this Eldrazi Ravager if we can ever get it back. So, notably, we haven't drawn any of our Serum Visionaries yet, and those will start triggering the Messenger, which can start getting us tokens, which we can sacrifice to get the Ravager back. We are on a clock at this point, though.
Yeah. There's several outs here, but there's not a lot of pressure from really either side.
Well, opponent is about to start chunking in.
That's so fair.
So they've got the Copy Crook that they can cast until the end of this turn, thanks to the Ral's last turn. They have this Thriving Skyclaw that they can grow and attack past my Messenger.
Fire breathing, right?
No, pay 3. When it attacks, pay 3 energy. If you do, put a +1/+1 counter on it.
Okay. Yeah.
So they're going to attack. They're going to pay 3 energy.
Wow, they have 5 energy. I wonder if they're going to pay 3.
Yeah.
Mystery
I
solved.
suppose if there's anything good for me, it's that opponent decided to tap a bunch of mana and now they can't play the Copy Crook unless they have another land. Or if they just, get rid of my thing and put a counter on their guy.
It's pretty good.
That's really bad for me.
Yeah.
we don't want to draw this.
Draw that next.
This 2/1, this ain't it. This 7/7.
Oh,
That's better. It's 2 bodies as well, so if our opponent randomly just has a kill spell for the 7/7, we just trade it for the Ravager that's in our graveyard.
Oh yeah.
Notably, that doesn't cost mana to get it back, just the sacrifice as the activated ability there.
I love it when you just have sacrifice abilities that just allow you to have a free sack outlet somewhere.
So opponent attacking here with this 3/3 is they have to have a kill spell here. And so Skoa here. Sure, we get to trade.
Yep.
So we get to trade for their token. This is wrong. Yeah, okay. Good job, me. Make them target my thing, then do the thing. Okay. Glad we figured that out. Go past me. We did the thing correctly.
Sequencing.
Anyway, so we have a 6/6 in our hand, but our opponent has a pair of 4-power creatures. We're down to 13, and that Skyclaw gets bigger if they ever draw energy, and they still have 2 clues. So we're certainly not happy about this, but we're not dead either.
Yeah. I think in Limited, the clues are more useful, because...
the games go long enough that the clues, generally speaking, are going to matter. This Tameos basically let them discard 2 cards to draw 4 cards.
Yeah.
It just took a while.
Took a long time, yeah.
So they didn't draw any extra energy, so, we're still on what is functionally still a 3-turn clock. That Skoa obviously can't attack past the 6/6 without help.
Oh, yeah.
So we're just kind of vibing over here and hoping that we draw more relevant cards than our opponent. But our opponent is drawing multiple cards a turn, so...
That's my least favorite thing, is when my opponent outdraws me and then starts countering all my spells.
Oh, well. Like, I'm less worried about the counterspell part. More worried about the, just
That's
having
fair,
more
but,
cards
yeah.
than me part. Hey, we
Right.
found the guy.
That's the guy with the Serum Visions attached to him.
Yeah, anyway, Annihilator won.
Bonk.
A bonk indeed. And
Yay.
they sacrificed their card draw,
Love it.
which is probably terrible for me. If they're willing to give up
Yeah.
a card, that means they think they win with what they have, and that's bad for me.
That's why we play stuff after first man.
Oh, I mean, for sure, but...
Oh, yeah.
Alright, so we've got Visionary into Visionary, so we get to set up our next turn pretty well here. I certainly want that Depth Defiler. The question is whether or not I want this Repurposer, just because it's multiple bodies, basically.
Those
so-
chump block, but you still have a flyer to worry about.
How
so-
much mana do I... I have a land in my hand, so I think I leave both on top here, and keep the Repurposer on top here. Reason being, I can play my land, play my Serum Visionary, draw the Repurposer, play the Repurposer,
Yep.
and just have this, like, my board went from just one creature to 5 creatures wide,
That's
and I know
pretty
that
good.
I have the Depth Defiler on top of my deck. I do not want that island.
Get out of here.
So here,
Here's
and now
another
we
island.
have,
Yep.
stuff. Hey, opponent, here's stuff.
Solve this problem.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't? Neat.
Well, notably, I could just die to this flyer here. There are multiple
Yep.
cards in this format that just make, that
Like it
one.
goes for our slice.
So now
Yeah.
anything that gives them energy is lethal, because that thing will attack for 5.
In an energy deck? Weird.
It's probably bad for me. The Ghost Fire Slice being able to go face, obviously, was terrible
Yeah.
for me, right?
Card's fun.
That card gets back...
Goes for our slice even.
well, unless they have a land, they can't cast it. They just get back literally anything that makes energy here.
That's true. Yeah, Ghost Fire does have a cost reduce.
Is that Tune? Yeah.
Yep.
Tune, and I can... Yeah, I see what's happening here. Good beats opponent.
Yep.
We both were drawing through the mid game. They were drawing more cards than me, and they got to the finish line.
I think some of that might be just a little bit of luck.
For sure,
it
but some
was-
opponent played well. I don't feel like I
Yep.
made any egregious mistakes. A couple of small mistakes. The life there that we were talking about, I could have gained one more life or gotten the horrific assault off a turn earlier.
I don't know if those decided the game. But,
Correct, and that's
yeah.
why I'm not ever going to stress about a game
Yeah.
like that. That was a good, close game. Opponent had multiple
Yeah.
cards in hand. It's not like they needed much to close out that game.
Yeah, no real reason to redeck tech and change what's already
No.
kind of working into
No, my deck did
Oh,
kind of
oh.
what it's supposed to do. I have no real qualms here.
Oh, man.
So they can target my thing. I can sacrifice it in response. I can fucking let them do
Yeah.
it. It doesn't really matter. Either way, it's about to be a forest. Like,
It's some sort of broccoli, I believe.
yeah. Notably, even though we have a 2-power flyer to their 2-power flyer, theirs has first strike, so
It's-
we're not getting into combat
Yep.
anytime soon here.
Feels bad.
It's fine. We have double horrific assault in our hand. We're just trying to do the thing.
Oh, yeah.
Now our
Ugh.
horrific assaults look a little bit worse. That shield counter is going to be annoying, but also not the end of the world. We don't have a way to draw cards. We don't really have much to do here. We need double green to
You
bestow.
can't bestow it, yeah.
Yeah, so we're like this turn. We're probably cycling one of our guys, either the Lurker for 3 mana and get a Scion, or just the Ravager and see what we draw. Yeah, either way, we need a little bit of help with this.
Yeah.
With this start, opponent, good 2-drop into a 3-drop. Our 2-drop is fine, but we don't have a
Yeah.
way to follow it up.
That White Orchid Phantom is, I think, going to see a lot of play in Legacy
In Legacy, you think?
with Death and Taxes.
Gotcha. I don't play enough Legacy to really have much of a feel for what is or
People
isn't
are-
good.
People are not playing enough basics, and I think that is really going to start making them go, you know what? I can put multiple basic islands in here, multiple basic swamps, just so that when I play against Death and Taxes, I don't just immediately die.
Fair enough. So I decide here that I'm under enough pressure, even though it's early in the game, that I don't want to take a turn making a play that doesn't impact the board at all.
Yeah.
So even though it's very likely that our opponent can remove our guy or, get past it or around it somehow, I just wanted to put out the 2/3 Hydra. The 2/3 Hydra makes them spend a card so that they can keep attacking. Otherwise, it doesn't matter that the Phantom has a shield counter on it, because I can just block it for forever.
Yeah, because this is some sort of card advantage where you're forcing them to remove a permanent that you have.
Yeah, so less card advantage, quote-unquote. One thing that I do get to do here, though, is use the Hydra to start blasting.
I just started blasting.
Just started blasting. So, like, killing the Brood-Scale before it gets to adapt is obviously nice. We get to gain the 3 life because we do have the Messenger, so we do have an Eldrazi. Now, this turn, I don't want to use the second Horrific Assault because all it's doing is getting a shield counter off, and that's not really worth anything to me. Right here, I think we want to cycle specifically the Lurker, so that we can try to get up to the mana for the Depth Defiler.
Yeah, and that can happen at any time, so you can kind of bluff having a
Yeah, we have mana up.
Yeah.
We are going to get priority. Plane Cycle and Angel, you got it.
Cool.
I mean, it means that they're stuck in a similar position to me, right? It means that they have, some lands, but not enough to do what they need to do, kind of like we're at.
Yeah. It's a good place to be, is when you and your opponent are both struggling, and whoever can pull it out. Oh wow! I have this 7/7 that I can eventually cast when I do.
Yeah, realistically here, I'm just looking to get this Depth Defiler deployed. So we draw the land, which puts us at 6 of the 7 mana we need for the Defiler plus Kicker. But what's really interesting is the Dryad having Death Touch.
Oh yeah.
So we can play out the Dryad and use the Horrific Assault, or to clear the 3/3, and then they're left with just a 2/2 as their only pressure. Alternatively, we can just play the Depth Defiler without Kicker. We don't get to draw 2 and discard, but we do still get to bounce the Phantom.
I think the long-term plan there is probably a better plan than just, we'll just,
Yeah, so...
Okay, I guess we're going for that.
Oh, I apologize. I thought it was colorless and 1 to kick, so obviously I'm wrong. I do get to play both parts of the Defiler, and I forgot how my own cards work.
There you go.
We get to draw some cards.
Plan to me.
We get to have the biggest creature in play. I think the Malevolent Rumble here is like the least interesting card in my hand, given where we're at. Though the fact that I don't have colorless mana in play now because I did have to use the only Scion I had is a little awkward. So I do kind of have to get this Nightshade Dryad down to be able to cast some of these other cards in my hand.
There's another Scion showing up though, just in time.
Yeah, we do get the Scion off of the Messenger.
Cast or...
No, the Messenger, because we drew 2 cards. We drew a second card.
Oh, the
turn.
Messenger does that. Oh, okay.
Because the Depth Defiler drew us 2 cards, the Messenger triggered and gave us a Scion.
I think I'm thinking of a different card that gives you when you cast or cycle.
Yeah, that's almost every other Eldrazi in this set.
I don't know how I got those confused. It's kind of weird. Opponent not attacking here.
They only have the 3/3 to attack with because they had to replay the White Orchid Phantom.
Well, they
so the 3/3 doesn't.
Anytime.
Attacking the 3/3 into the 3/5, maybe not the best play.
I've watched people make better plays, and I've watched people make worse plays.
That's true.
And I've watched it happen all on Arena.
Sure. I tend to give my opponents the benefit of the doubt.
Yes.
I will assume that my opponents are going to play to the same ability that I feel like I can play at, or better.
I have done all of the above, and been on the receiving end of all of the above. So maybe Arena just knows who to match me against.
There you go. So here we just want to clear the flyer. It's not that we're terribly scared of it. We just want to be able to be attacking.
Yeah.
So with a first striking flyer in play, it shuts our Messenger off from being relevant.
Yeah, it's really nuts.
And we're just, we're interested in being the aggressor at this point.
Yeah. Because it's a pretty quick clock if they wanted to...
Yeah, they have no good blocks on the 3/5.
Yeah.
We're getting our 6/6 with Annihilator into play. Even if we're just chip-shotting in for 2 and they're having to do something about our other cards like this, that's fine.
Yeah, that's removal they're not spending on everything else.
Right.
Including the flyer.
Right. So if they want to attack for 4 after putting us back to 20, that's totally fine. We're getting in for 5, they're at 9, so...
Oh, yeah.
We're back to that situation I mentioned a moment ago where we don't have a colorless source. We can't really play this Wumpus Aberration unless we want to risk.
We can make a colorless source right
now. Yeah. But I would have loved to get a 6/6 with trample down that turn.
Oh, that's fair.
We just don't want to risk our opponent having like an Eldrazi Titan in their hand, and we literally give up the game because we cast this Wumpus Aberration.
Oh man, I sure wish I had a way to get this into play. Oh, they're just giving me. Oh, cool. I'll take that.
Yeah.
Any day of the week.
Yeah, no thanks. Opponent playing Primal Prayers here.
Show and tell against show and tell, and they have an omniscience.
Yeah, so
I'm scared.
Opponent wasn't just dead on the spot, but they don't really have good blocks here. We get to attack.
I mean,
that
they
Primal
can see what's
Prayers.
in their hand too.
Yeah,
so.
that Primal Prayer is not actually doing anything this late in the game. You know, maybe if they could have leveraged their when we were both kind of stuck on mana, if they could have gotten it down and leveraged the energy to discount mana.
Yeah, but sometimes it's you're looking at your hand and you've got a forest in the plains and you're going like, wow, this is really doing a lot here, and you know. You just kind of can start doing the math. It's like, it's going to take about 2 or 3 turns, and I don't think I really have any good outs in the deck. Yeah. I'm going to go to my next game.
So we air quotes have all our colors here with a colorless, a blue source, and a green source. We're on the play, so we're not terribly worried about getting run over. We have a removal spell if our opponent does come out particularly aggressively, and we can cycle this Ravager to dig a little deeper and find some action. Regardless. And if we find action along the way and don't need to cycle the Ravager, that's fine. We just maybe build up to our mana and just cast it. And then, make our opponent deal with it. The fact that we don't really have anything to do here on 2 leads me to believe we're very likely cycling this Ravager here.
Utter Insignificance, I think, is a really neat card.
And the fact that it has Flash makes it playable. Without Flash, I think the card's probably just bad, but fortunately, it's not. It's fine. Opponent playing a Drossclaw, so, nice little 1/1, chip shots in, we're just cycling. Certainly not something I'm going to target with an Utter Insignificance.
Yeah, that's not worth it.
No, not at all. So, Messenger here.
Target's a creature, I believe, right?
Yeah. Messenger here, we manually tapped the colorless source. That said, I don't really want to use this Horrific, so it doesn't really matter. Auto Tapper could have done whatever, but having a green source up instead of a colorless source reps a couple different things. Does it even actually? Hang on. I can't even think of G instant in this set that I'm going to leave up terribly often, but
yeah, I don't know.
In any case, Auto Tapper. This was a couple weeks ago, and Auto Tapper was very keen on making sure your landscapes were untapped.
Yeah.
Whether you wanted them to be or not. The AI has since adjusted, and Auto Tapper has gotten better, but
Oh yeah. There's certainly something to say for having more experience under the belt of an AI.
Sure.
Look, and Galvanic Discharge.
Yep.
To take
my thing's dead.
Blocker?
No, I mean they attacked. I declared no blocks. I'm not trading with a germ.
Yeah.
This discharge is fine. It's even net +2 energy. Though my opponent either misclicked or don't quite understand how the card works because they spent all 3 to kill my 1 toughness creature.
Well, you could have had a pump spell.
You can't respond in the middle of the spell resolving.
That's true. That's right. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe they're worried about it.
Yeah.
Because once again, sometimes people just misplay, and sometimes it's just
and I can't express enough that this is still early into the season for Modern Horizons 3. This was the week directly after the pre-release. These matches were recorded.
I had no idea what any of these cards did, and I still drafted.
Yeah, so I'm still learning the cards myself at this point. And only getting the chance to sit down and record over it now. It's been a little bit. I've had a lot on my plate.
I mean, it's life.
So we have no action, which is not where we want to be, and we're stuck using this Utter Insignificant just to make sure this Void Pouncer doesn't kill us. Amusingly enough, because it removes all abilities, suddenly the Void Pouncer is actually red because it removes Devoid.
Oh.
And that's just funny to me.
Layers and such. Right?
Not really layers. It removes the text on the card that says the word Devoid, basically.
Is that an ability the creature has?
Apparently, yes.
Oh, there you go.
I have never looked into Devoid enough to really know, but there it is. There's a red creature right there.
Wow. There it is.
Drawing more lands, not exactly what we're looking for. Opponent doesn't have the most aggressive start, but...
yeah, but they're still back up to a 5 damage.
Yep. We're
turn.
going to exile their guy, take take 5 instead of 6.
This is 7 damage so far that really hasn't been answered.
Yeah, we just haven't drawn a creature.
That's fun.
Even
this, something to
this breaker
attack,
was in our opening hand.
Yeah.
The Ravager we cycled on turn 2, and this horrific assault is just hanging out, vibing.
This is when people ask why I cut lands from my deck is because of exactly reasons like this. I don't want to be 5 turns in having hit every single land drop but dying intensely.
Okay.
Within the next 2 seconds. And
hey folks. Don't take that advice.
No, don't take my advice. No,
don't do that.
I don't know.
Do not cut lands from your deck.
I go to 16. That's
do not cut lands from your deck.
Look, here's flood.
Yep. That is just variance. That happens. You take these L's and you play the next game. Okay? Do not... See? Yeah. We didn't even look. We didn't go into the deck. We're fine. Yeah. We know the deck is fine. Yeah. We're just going to play the next game and try to get our 4, 5, 6 wins.
Just got flooded. It's accurate, yeah.
We have 2 lands in this hand, but we have a Malevolent Rumble to try to find the third. We have, our colorless and our green source. We draw another land. We're perfectly content with that. If one of these turns into an island, we should play that one first. That one turns into an island. We're going to play that one first.
Yep. That can be an untapped island next turn. So much fun.
And it's going to be an island here in just a minute. And then we're going to Malevolent Rumble, and everything's going to be great.
Oh, yeah.
Except that Glyph Elemental is going to try to murder me. Other than that, everything's going to be great.
Yeah.
Hey, look. An island.
Motobug.
Everything's great. This thing's a sorcery. Let's cast it now. Which of these things do I want? I think here, especially because we get the token here, give me the 6/6. I just want this 6/6. I'm casting it next turn. We have our lands lined up. This thing makes the colorless source for us, even though we have it rolled up in our hand already.
Oh yeah.
Opponent getting to double land here so that this Glyph Elemental is functionally a 4/4. We would consider chump blocking if we didn't need this little bug to make our 6/6.
This is a really disgusting.
It's a pretty good start. Pretty good start. 2-drop into another good 2-drop and a fetch land to power up the Glyph Elemental. It's a good start from our opponent. Good for them. We're happy for them. Anyway, here's the 6/6.
There they are. All 3 colors.
Yeah.
We're going to spend colors to cast it, so we'll just get a 4-mana 6/6.
Correct. With trample, notably.
Yeah.
Now, one thing that's probably true, because our opponent is playing white-black, they can probably just kill our thing. So one thing that we're considering here is just Deem Inferior on the Glyph Elemental, since they did have a fetch land last turn. Yeah. And then we get to save our idiot as a jump blocker. We still have land drops to make, so we can play the Wumpus Aberration next turn, or the Reef Worm if we feel like we just want to block a lot. You mentioned earlier that's what Reef Worm does.
It sure does block.
It just blocks, and then blocks, and then blocks a couple more times.
It just makes anything that does not have evasion just make your opponent a bigger creature.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So we can consider blocking here, but we have a 7-drop, we have a Myco Spawn that has kicker. It's definitely, we're at 16, and 4 at a time is a pretty big chunk.
Yeah, and so you get the Wumpus in next turn, so
regardless,
saving 4 might be a good idea.
That said, they left the Glyph Elemental on top, so I don't know if that means that they have more lands that they think they're going to be able to keep powering it up, or if they just want the extra threat. This Kozilek's Command is a very good draw, in my opinion. We know that our opponent has multiple 2-drops, So getting to use this Kozilek's command to just clear one of these creatures, however big it happens to be, like it, yeah.
Yep.
So they have a 4/4 and a 3/3. If they get to attack with the unicorn, they're both 4/4s thanks to the mentor ability. Next turn, I mean, unlikely they're attacking into the Wumpus, and they didn't.
So much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it when my opponent always has bigger creatures than me, except when I have a 6/6.
So yeah, our opponent had a nice, good, aggressive start, but like just getting the Demon Inferior down to slow them down, followed by the Wumpus Aberration to guarantee we have the biggest thing in play. And here we're just considering
I think he can...
Kozilek's command, make some dudes, exile a dude. I love attacking here because if they do double block to get the value, we get to Kozilek's command in response.
Oh, yeah.
Now, odds are they don't block at all, right? Odds are they just take this 6 and go like, okay, we attack for 8 and you're hitting us for 6, who cares?
The math there works out.
For them, yeah. So, but this attack, like, if they go to combat, we can still exile a guy and make a pile of guys, like a pile of dudes for ourselves. We still have the option to play the Myco Spawn. We still have the option to play the Reform. Like, we're in a pretty okay spot here.
That Reform is going to block all day long, but the Myco Spawn
well,
is going to get us
what
to
I like
7
doing
mana
here
earlier.
Well, only sort of, because we have to sacrifice our guy to do it. But we get to take our opponent off of one of their sources and just put them back a turn.
That's fun.
While also ramping us
This is
up, and we get to make sure we get another landscape if we want it, because I think we want the second colorless source. So come on, me.
I'm
Good
putting
job.
this in a deck tonight. This
The Myco Spawn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, this is going in my green deck. Oh, yeah.
So notably, it is only a 3/3, which on this board is a problem because opponent has a 4/4. That's So they hit a land drop, so now they have two 4/4s. To be fair, they were going to be two 4/4s either way.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because if they attacked and had the mentor trigger. So, yeah, this is. We're just going to take this hit.
That's 8.
We get to untap with the 6/6. We have a removal spell. We have 7 lands so that we get to play this Drownyard Lurker. Yeah, we're kind of vibing. We're okay.
Yeah. There's plenty to do here.
So we can do this notably for X = 5, which gives us 5 chump blockers while we're at it. Yeah.
Kozilek's command is it's a neat little card.
But we can also just use this horrific assault, gain some life here. Yeah, let's get in for 9 to start with. Like, all right. We can horrific assault to clear what probably the unicorn here. I think the because the unicorn can mentor onto the. Okay, yeah, we can just do that.
Oh, that
too.
has lifelink, yeah.
I'm less concerned with the lifelink because we have the Kozilek's command either way.
The Kozilek's command can clear both the 2 drops.
Well,
so
it can only clear one thing.
Right.
It clears something with CMC X or less. So it doesn't really matter what we hit here, as long as we gain the 3 life. We have 4 mana up, so we could have Kozilek's command at the 4-drop either way. But I think right here, opponent has demonstrated that they're not doing anything with their mana, so we just want to make a bunch of dudes, exile. At this point, because the mentor doesn't do anything, we just want to exile the Glyph Elemental that can get bigger depending on what they draw. And now we have a pile of chump blockers. Opponent is at 5, and
that 6
we're feeling pretty good.
Is sure gonna get through there. It's gonna just show that unicorn who's boss.
Yeah, well, I mean, even if they play another creature, like this, they can put the 4/4 on the 3/3 and eat it, but then our 6/6 still tramples over for 4 on the other guy, and puts them to 1.
Yeah.
So they can eat our guy, but they go to 1 to do it, and we get to just put Reform and Drownyard Lurker in play if we want to.
I would concede at that point. I think that's if I had 1 card in hand, I would just be like, well, that's game. Yeah, the writing's on the wall.
For what it's worth, I think attacking with the Myco Spawn here was correct. I think I should have attacked here, but I guess the block is the same either way. I'm down a Myco Spawn. But I don't know. It doesn't seem
here's a
crazy
7/7.
relevant here. 7/7 with Vigilance. Auto Tapper decided to tap all my islands, so I don't get to play the Reform also, but I don't think it matters. The Reform wasn't attacking anyway, right?
Yeah, no, that's what it does, is it blocks.
Yeah, so our opponent's out here is like Wrath of the Skies, but that doesn't kill the Drownyard Lurker, so it doesn't really matter.
Yes. You can Wrath yourself, and then...
Well, notably, it would have killed the Wumpus and the Myco Spawn, so it would have actually killed
fair.
everything other than the 7/7.
You can Wrath yourself and let them take you into the abyss.
We
bonk.
So yeah, opponent had a pretty good aggressive start there. We managed to stabilize, just land the biggest thing in play and slow our opponent down just enough, and then get a couple chunky hits in with the Wumpus.
Notably, only 2 colors in this hand. Because I really do want to get that green out.
Yeah, the landscape, I believe, fetches a green. So, like, we have both the Malevolent Rumble and the Nightshade Dryad.
Yeah.
So, like, we functionally have green and colorless here.
Yeah.
With the 2 islands. So
I think I'm just scarred from playing a lot of CDH, where people just Dark Ritual out this Op Agent. It's just, I don't get to fetch. Cool.
Well, fortunately, you don't have to worry about that in draft.
It's weird. That's probably why it's a good format.
I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I enjoy it a lot. The Modern Horizons limited format as well, like, each of the archetypes has proven to be, like, playable. For sure, the Eldrazi deck is the best deck.
Yeah. You just make bigger guys.
Well, not just you make bigger guys, you make big guys fast.
Yeah. Because you're here to ramp and play lands.
Yeah, but like even just the 2-drops and the 3-drops in the Eldrazi deck are just good on-rate creatures. Like Broodschale being a grizzly bear.
Downside?
Yeah. Broodschale being a grizzly bear that turns into a 3/3 and gives you a dork.
Yeah.
Is really good. Repurposer being a 3-mana 3/3 that comes with a dork and leaves a dork when you kill him. Like,
where's the downside? No one's giving me a downside.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's why these cards are taking over some formats.
Maybe so. But the Burrows deck also has the ability to just kind of like get you dead very quickly. I've had a little bit less success personally with the Jeskai combinations, outside of Burrows proper.
Yeah.
But, we try them. We see what we get. There are some pretty powerful rares in these color combinations as well.
Yeah, the rares here keep being all-stars.
Yeah.
But it's a weird thing because I believe Modern Horizons is kind of tuned for Modern.
Sure.
In the sense that
the cards,
Wizards will see a deck that maybe needs a little help and throw a rare their way.
Maybe so.
But
so
balancing that within the draft format
I
cannot be easy.
Point out here that we're playing the Serum Visionary over the Wumpus Aberration, even though we had the option. Opponent kind of just did nothing with their turn, but left up blue and won. And honestly, I don't want my Wumpus Aberration getting Aether Spiked. But if they want to Aether Spike a Serum Visionary, I'm pretty okay trading a counterspell for that.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't think that this is worth a Horrific Assault here to clear the 2/1 looter. Now, what's also true is this could all just be that they don't have the Aether Spike and they're getting the priority pass because of the tap ability of Tempest Harvester.
That is 100% a thing that happens all the time. Though.
Yeah, absolutely. But nonetheless, I don't really want my Wumpus Aberration getting Aether Spiked.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't either.
We just kind of progress our board. The Serum Visionary cantrips us so that we keep our hand size. We commit another thing. Now the Serum Visionary can start applying a modicum of pressure. And we kind of go from here.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, so bounce my Mana Dork.
We escape Battle Mage. There he is.
Grizzly Bear that bounces a thing. Pretty good. Yeah, so opponent didn't want to attack into my 2/2, which is fine. I'm perfectly happy to attack into their 2/2s. In fact, here's another 2/2. Now, alright, so there's a colorless source on top of my deck. I maybe should have left up, or not left up, I maybe should have led on the Mana Dork, the Dryad, because it was my only colorless source. And so getting the Serum Visionary down, if I don't find this landscape here, and I don't have access to the colorless land, then the Wumpus Aberration just spends that much more time rotting in my hand. So we got a little lucky. We found the landscape, but I think maybe I should have just replayed the Dryad.
I mean, I don't know how aggressive the deck really wants to be, but everyone's still sitting here at 20 life, but we're just
Yeah.
trying to figure out what the board's going to look like for the next couple turns.
So for me, it's not so much about being aggressive. Like our opponent's going to trade here, and that's fine. We don't care. Just paring down the board is okay by us because we want this 6/6 in play, basically. So the less blockers our opponent has for when this 6/6 ultimately does come down, the better it is for us. So, yeah, the thing is, though, is now we're in a situation again where our opponent has all their mana up. So, like, we spent all this time and we didn't get the mana dork down, and now our opponent gets to untap, have all their mana, and if they have the counterspell here, we're kind of sad.
Yeah. I've found that if you make them have it, then sometimes they just don't have it.
Like now?
It looks like right now.
So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
We now have 8 power, and suddenly there's a giant clock.
Yeah,
We have
I
3
think
power.
I was reading the utter insignificance from, I think, turn 2, because I had one that blew up.
And
They might have had that for
excuse
a
me.
while.
And once again, the void being taken away, and we suddenly have a green creature again,
Wow.
and that's
Neat. Layers.
still funny to me. That said, we still get to chunk in for 3. Like, sure.
That's a bolt every turn right
Yeah,
there.
if they want to spend their mana exiling our guy, that's totally fine by me. You know, that's 3 less mana they have available right now. Which, you know, play a guy, get an extra dude. Play a guy.
We're going to ramp.
We're just going to play our stuff. We're just going to play our stuff. It means our Malevolent Rumble next turn, whatever it finds, we can probably cast.
Ooh,
That's
baby.
a
Tapping out.
large fella.
That's a big boy.
Here's the funny thing. That Nightshade Dryad has Death Touch. And we have this horrific assault already lined up in our hand.
Oh, no.
So this guy wants to punch the pig.
He's not...
Slap.
Stop. He's already dead.
So yeah, like opponent tapped out for their big threat. Yep. I would have done the same thing.
Yeah, and it cost you 1 mana and a Nightshade Dryad to kill it.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Well, it didn't even cost me the Dryad, right? Like the Dryad's still just vibing.
Oh, yeah.
It's not a fight, it's a punch.
It cost you the 2 mana to cast the Nightshade Dryad.
Sure.
Yeah.
We wanted that guy in play anyway. So yeah, I think like we have the choice here. We can get the 6/6. But what we can also do, our opponent very clearly is on like this big mana base, right? They've got both a colorless source, 2 white sources, 2 green sources,
like
2
banned.
blue sources. And what we can do here is we can Sowing Mycospawn and cut them off of their colorless source at least. Even like I'm not terribly worried about getting them off of like double white, double green, double blue. But we can make sure that any of their Eldrazi cards can't be. Like, if they have a Wumpus or something, they'll be hesitant to cast it. If they have, you know, any of the bigger Eldrazi, they're that much further away from casting
Certainly
it.
fortunate enough that they tapped out for this and they can't sack it in response.
Right. You know, they do still have the 1 colorless source with the Eldrazi that's in play. Mm-hmm. That's a no, Johnny. Fellas, the gods are.
No.
One of my 3/3s is gone. Goodbye. Notably, I think they should have taken the Repurposer, because exiling it means I don't get the Scion, and honestly, the Mycospawn doesn't really matter once it's in play already. But,
Here's a Ravager.
mostly irrelevant.
Here's a guy.
Yeah, here's an attack for 6. Yeah. Opponent agrees it's probably time to stop some of this damage. Here's a large fellow with Annihilator. Your turn, opponent. So they get a 2/1. It's going to get a Vigilance token, but they do have quite the board to contend with at this point.
Yeah.
No energy, so like we're not really fearing a Wrath. We have a 6-drop in play.
I don't think we've seen any energy from this deck all game.
No,
right?
but like it doesn't take much, right? Also, Wrath of the Skies can make its own energy. Yeah,
solve its own problems.
exactly. But not when you're limited on mana and the Mycospawn cut you off of at least a land. So this is just a pretty easy attack all. We're going to click on things so that our 0/1 doesn't rumble, but it's mostly irrelevant.
That's so much fun, yeah.
I think the Dryad probably should have attacked here. Sacrificing the Ajani's makes a lot of sense. The third chapter is just giving a thing double strike until end of turn.
Wow.
And our opponent is not really in a position to
Yeah.
be attacking, so we
Yeah.
don't really need that third chapter so much.
It's like read ahead, but worse.
Yeah. It's a opponent
chump
makes
blocker, I believe.
yep, which jumps right in front of that 6/6, nice and easy. So it's what do they want to trade with my 2/2? They do. So they go to 5. They don't go to 5. They eat my 2/2. Well, no, they still go to 5, but they eat my 2/2. That's fine.
So,
I can utter insignificance, but that doesn't do anything.
3/3, yeah. Because it's 2/1, and
Correct.
then it has 2 +1/+1 counters on it.
Yeah, so the utter insignificance. What I can do, though, like if I really, really wanted to, we could utter insignificance and then exile it to keep our 2/2 around. But that's not exact. Like, look at the board compared. Like, look what we're doing compared to what our opponent has at the moment.
Yeah, there's a Brain Surge.
We would much rather have this utter insignificance in case our opponent has another, like, 6/8 or something that we can just clear. Get that out of the way so we can keep attacking.
I don't think I've seen Brain Surge see a lot of constructed play.
No, at 3 mana, I just don't think it's good enough.
A little too much. But it's a neat nod to Brainstorm.
Absolutely.
Big fan of...
The Gentleman's Agreement of Legacy.
Yes.
We won't ban this card. Right, guys? Shake hands all around.
Oh, you're thought seizing me? I'd like to brainstorm in response and put all the good cards on top of my deck. Thanks. Yeah. I've been thinking about making a proxied out Legacy battle box. Just because I don't have all the cards to...
Yeah, most people don't, it turns out.
Well, I mean, it's a lot cheaper to get multiple Underground Seas when you go to a printer.
Opponent went to attack with their 4/3 and realized that I have a Nightshade Dryad up.
Yep.
We top deck a second kill spell here, so we kind of just get to get rid of this thing. Assuming no response.
For the concede button.
We get to... So we... we can attack here. We should... What am I doing? Why didn't I get rid of their thing?
It makes it a...
No, I have enough mana to exile it too. Like, it doesn't matter what it
true.
makes it. I
Yeah,
could have
that's
just
true.
gotten rid of it if I want to. I suppose I'm not in a tremendous rush here, but I could have tried to close out this game. Opponent having cards in hand means that, you know, they could have something to stop me from killing them.
That's fair.
But I think, you know, as you mentioned earlier, making them have it sometimes is just more worthwhile. That said, our opponent is pretty far behind. And we do still have this kill spell. I think I was just playing a little patiently, and maybe I should have been just a hair more aggressive there. Just clear their guy and get in.
Yeah.
But, you know, that sometimes runs you into the what could go wrong, and then suddenly they have the out, and...
I think it's a very red thing to just make them have it, and then just watch as they either do or do not have it.
Sure.
And such is life. Because, I mean... You can either spend, you know, all day debating, well, do I counter this? Do I do this?
Yeah.
And making all these different decisions. Or you can just be like, well, hope he doesn't have it.
So,
how bad would it be if not?
We're on the draw here. So depending on how opponent starts, kind of dictates what we want to do for our first couple turns. We can go Nightshade Dryad into try to stick a Wumpus on turn 3.
Yeah.
Or we can go Emrakul's Messenger into Serum Visionary make a spawn on turn 3.
Yeah, which is a good setup for later turns.
Right, and it kind of depends on how our opponent starts out. So they're starting out as Gruul.
Very aggro.
Yeah.
Let's stop attacking. Please.
Well, no, I actually kind of want them to attack here because I don't think they're going to spend like a kill spell on my Nightshade Dryad here.
Yeah.
Which means I do get to just stick the Aberration. Odds are. That said, I'm wrong, and there goes my guy. There goes my turn 3 play. But we did draw the Repurposer this past turn, so we do have a good follow-up even if they kill our thing, which honestly is probably why I played the Dryad there. Because we had a good follow-up even if they have the kill spell. That said, now we are down a land for the Wumpus. We do need to draw another land.
Yeah.
We don't. We have the Eldrazi. I'm silly and tired, I guess. Ignore me.
Sometimes, yes.
Nah, that's...
Oh, man. That 2/2 attacking into a 3/3 feels real bad.
Yeah. Anyway.
So much fun.
They have a lot of mana open.
I don't think they're going to counter anything. I think they're just
No,
up removal.
I'm not really worried about them countering anything here, but like they left all their mana open. They're not attacking. They are not killing my 3/3. I can play the Wumpus, but the problem is I'm missing my land drop this turn, and I'm sacrificing a mana source to do it. So I think we just want to cast the Serum Visionary here. Try to hit our land drop for the turn, even though we're not getting the value off the Emrakul's Messenger.
Oh, look at that. A land.
I'm very happy to just see another land on top. I don't really need the Malevolent Rumble there. We have plenty of action in our hand. So, yeah, we're just vibing.
Oh, yeah.
We don't want to attack. Our opponent is very likely to be a more aggressive deck than us.
Yeah.
So just get some bodies into play. They now have to clear 2 obstacles to get in an attack that doesn't just trade off their guy or outright lose their guy.
Because with the opponent only really showing a 2/2 this entire game, it just makes sense that we kind of want to push this into a later game.
Yeah. Glimpse is going to give them a whole lot of mana for next turn. So they got to hit their land drop and make 2 spawn.
Yeah.
You know, and if their deck is looking anywhere close to the kind of things that I'm doing on my top end, I don't really want them to have all of this. But, you know, I also don't really have the means to stop them. So, I don't...
Flyer.
The flyer doesn't matter here, is the big problem.
Yeah, because a lot of the big Eldrazi guys have reach. And that's a little scary there.
Yeah, like, playing the Messenger here just, like, lets me start attacking, I guess. We do get to play both, really, but, like, we are sacrificing our spawn to do it. I don't think the spawn was doing much. Opponent is about to have a pile of mana. I maybe think I should start getting aggressive and just be attacking with the 3/3 at least. You know, I have plenty of things back that can block. We're still at a high life total. One of the cute things that the Pyro Surfer does here with these spawn tokens.
Battlecry.
Yeah, Battlecry all of a sudden and they're attacking as 1/1s.
Yeah, that's...
Which is quite cute.
1/1s and not 1/2s.
Yeah, Battlecry is only plus to the power.
Okay.
So we now have a pile of removal in our hand. So we just got to figure out what and how we want to use it.
Yeah. Is he going to find another Ember Mage? That's a real question.
Well... So we have a couple options here. We can Horrific Assault, which both gains us some life, which is good. We get to clear the 4/4, which is also good.
Yeah.
We could have gone to combat with the Wumpus, and then if they try to double block to clear it, we have the Utter Insignificance.
Yep, that's always a good combat.
So, like, I had a lot of options here, and I chose the one that just let us use some of our mana and attack, and still have the rest of our options available.
Yeah.
I think maybe just going to combat and seeing if they wanted to block first might have been better, but I don't know.
Yeah, there's there's a lot going on, but like also at the same time, really not a lot going on the board.
So this is a fine play. Just kill off my 3/3 so that they have like their attack at least trades. That said, if they're not doing anything about my 6/6, I really don't care if they're spending kill spells to knock off 3/3s and 2/2s.
Yeah.
Like, that is just not
there's a
not
6/6 with trample. Let's leave it around. See what happens. Yeah.
Notably, the red removal doesn't deal very well with 6/6s with trample.
Yeah, that's fair. You'd have to use multiple pieces of removal. Because that's just not fun just to eat 2 cards just to kill 1 card that your opponent has. And in any other format that'd be known as a bad trade.
Here we're using the Utter Insignificance just so that we're using our mana. You know, if we draw this land here, we can cast
that card's nuts.
Yeah, we can just kind of clear some more stuff.
It's removal that also removes later. It's great.
Like, this Pyro Surfer already isn't doing anything. I guarantee our opponent bottomed it, yeah. We just want to check and make sure. We can attack with these things. I think... Like, obviously blocking the Trampler doesn't matter here. They could have just thrown the Scythe Claw in front of the 2/2 if they wanted to. Obviously, it's only saving 2 points of damage, which doesn't matter tremendously. And one thing that I checked a moment ago,
Ooh, yeah, baby.
they only have 1 green in play, so
yeah.
they can't activate that shifting woodland.
That's true. Yeah,
They have delirium.
Green.
Yes, they have delirium, but they didn't have the second green.
Yeah, that feels
so
bad.
there was nothing to worry about per se.
And if they find, I believe they have a fetch land.
They do now, yeah, but it was tapped a while ago.
So it's going to take them at least another turn to get everything in.
Yeah. Now,
oh baby.
Notably, I can't really attack here. Like, if I attack with my Wumpus Aberration, it trades with the Germ token.
Yeah.
Then they just slide the Dread Mask onto a spawn, and I'm stuck in the same problem.
This is why I
down
love this
a
card,
6/6.
is because it's, I'm totally going to build Pauper Dreadmaw Stompy. I mean, I love my memes, but there's another Skoa.
They really want to target the Breaker of Creation, but that hexproof from...
Sure can't, though.
Yeah, so but still, just clearing a body is not terrible. Obviously, going after my life total when I'm at 27 doesn't really do anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, that Dread Mask is really
Who knew that for 6 mana, a 6/6 for 6 with trample is
honestly
decent.
If it was just the 6/6, I would have attacked into it and traded with it and been fine, and I wouldn't have cared.
But it can go on to the next creature.
Yeah.
Which is why I love that card.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's definitely...
so good for common, right? Yeah, there's so many...
It's definitely sitting here making my life much more difficult this game. I need to find a way through it, around it. We do have the Wastscape Battle Mage that can clear it.
Yeah.
We can just get in and see what happens. We have 1 card in hand. Our opponent has 1 card in hand. We're both top-decking, I guess. But yeah, what this functionally does here is just okay,
trades. Yep, let's
everything dies, you keep a mask and a token, and I'm not thrilled about this.
That mask is going to go real nicely on that sign, on that spawn token.
Yeah. I'm kind of questioning why I would have wanted to commit there when I'm at 27. I think I can leave back my guys. That said, the Breaker of Creation does not get better for our opponent having more blockers. So if the game just goes long and it's just kind of chilling, that's not good.
That's a 6/7 right there.
Yeah, and I think this is a pretty free attack for our opponent. Again, our life total is well high enough that it doesn't matter, but we need to find something. I think I don't love the attack that I made.
Yeah.
I don't think it was terrible. Yep. I think clearing some stuff out, and better lucky than good sometimes.
Look, it bounces this thing. Crazy.
Yeah, we just get to get rid of the token. The token's not scary here. We don't really care about it, but getting rid of it is getting rid of it, right?
It's another turn that they get to block with it.
Exactly.
That's just not...
So better lucky than good. I don't think we necessarily played these games the best. This run, I think our deck is better than the last one, and we managed to go 5-3 with the last one.
Yeah.
But I think
bunch of bears.
I think we're playing worse with this deck, even though the deck is better.
Yeah.
That is kind of where I'm standing.
I think the high variance unlimited is just one of the things that is really neat about the format that you don't quite get anywhere, because you can set out to build a certain deck, but if you don't get past the cards...
Yeah, generally speaking, in limited, you shouldn't go into it expecting to draft any given archetype. Yeah. You kind of got to see what you're getting past and go from there.
Which definitely leads more to you have skill as a drafter.
Sure.
Is going to...
it is certainly almost a requirement of being good in the format.
Yeah.
But notably, we went from ripping the out for the mask into the biggest creature in our deck, basically. So, opponent being at 6 and we have a 6/6 trampler means not only do they have to chump, but they have to chump with. We're just drawing very well here.
Top deck city.
Almost apologies, but it is what it is. I promise you'll watch me get top decked out of games in these videos just as well.
Was
so
it last game or the game before that, where it was just land. Oh, sweet. Oh, my favorite.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it is what it is.
We're
Here's
gonna present
another 6/6,
6/6.
and notably, and I don't know if opponent is
Yeah.
doing this on purpose, but they only just cracked this landscape, right? So this shifting woodland has kind of just been sitting here this whole time, where it could have been copying something.
Any number of things.
I don't know what they have in here worth copying. I think it's just like SCOAs, right? It's just 4/4s.
Yeah. I mean, they probably were thinking about the same thing. It's like, what do I have to copy? Nothing?
Yeah.
Cool.
The Dread Mask got exiled because the
it
Battle
sure
Mage
did.
exiles. That said, they don't have enough mana to copy the Dread Mask and move it onto something. So, I don't know. I believe that was the Magic 4th win. So this this draft is a freebie, as it were.
It's free real estate at this point.
Yeah, so I mentioned this in the last video, and I'll mention it again. My goal here, whenever we're playing Limited, is we just want to hit 4 wins to break even, and obviously we want a trophy, but 4 wins to break even is the goal. 4 wins, we just roll forever, and life is good. You see all these flash cuts. Obviously, we're just kind of demonstrating here that we got into our match.
Opponent sure was on the on the toilet, and he went, "Oh, I still have a game going."
Yeah. And sometimes internet goes out in places. I don't know this person. I don't know if anything happened. I hope they're okay. I hope everything's fine. I hope it was just, you know, either a misclick or something like that. But, you know.
I have accidentally left games before, and I've also had my internet go out and Magic Arena just go, "Hey, you're not signed in." It's like, but I signed, but I am signed in.
Or, you know, just the program crashes or any number of 1,000 things. Like I said, hope whoever that was is fine and it wasn't an emergency.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm not above taking these free wins, I gotta be honest.
It's still free real estate. In fact, it's even more free real estate.
So naturally we can't win because we're playing against the Magic Pro.
I'm a Magic amateur. If any of my previous comments have made that exceptionally clear, I'm a Magic amateur.
Hand is perfectly fine. We're on the draw.
Look at that.
The
more cards to play.
We don't have anything that triggers it. We're not drawing any cards here, so like pretty whatever. Not really.
Cool.
Charge Bug. I like that card. I like that card a lot, actually. I think
It sure does give menace.
So opponent is on blue-red. I think we just want to play the Messenger here. The Brood Scale is good, but neither one of them is blocking the Menace creature. And if our opponent does have a removal spell, we'd rather they kill off the Messenger because we don't really have anything to do with it, as opposed to the Brood Scale before we get to adapt it. Refurbished Familiar, not really what I was expecting off of our opponent going blue-red land into Mountain.
Yeah.
But, you know, maybe the blue-red land is just a spell land that's a mountain that comes into play tapped in their deck, and they're on the Rakdos Affinity list. In any case, Refurbished Familiar, one of my favorite cards, personally, in the set. I really like the Pigeon. Rat with wings, baby. Let's go.
Yeah. So you're... Noticeably, I saw you looked at the Broker of Creation and then discarded the Reform, because I think you're looking at the long-term plans here, right?
Well, so, like, their creature has menace. Like, the bug has menace and can give other creatures menace.
Yeah.
The pigeon flies. So, like, what is this Reform doing, right?
Yeah.
It's not attacking. That's not its job.
It's not good at blocking.
Right, and it doesn't have anything that it can block. So let's play the game and see if we get to this Breaker of Creation. We do have the Brood Scale in play. We have the Repurposer that we're, getting down and will die theoretically at some point.
Here we are discarding again.
Yeah, unfortunately. Pigeon real good at that. So it is what it is. They didn't attack, and I think that's fine, right? We can just double block with the 3/3 and the 0/1. We're basically trading a charge bug for a spawn token, and that's not something our opponent was interested in.
Yeah.
They do have 1 mana up here. I can try to Horrific Assault to clear probably the charge bug.
I'm trying to think of the blue or red.
Well, Galvanic Discharge, right?
That's true.
That's what we're worried about here.
Yeah. They have no free blocks.
No, but like
Yeah, it's really not. It's really not worth attacking here.
yeah, the other
There we
thing
go.
too is
Okay.
like I'm not even sure I care to use my removal spell on these creatures, right? Like
Yeah, the creature that you play on turn 2 and turn 3, it does that.
does that really warrant
Yeah,
a premium removal spell?
yeah. You play a big creature and you block it. That's a way to remove that creature, or you force them to block
Yeah.
a big creature. That's
And one thing that I find myself that I have to catch myself in every now and again, and something that I try to impress on people who ask me for any kind of advice, just because you have removal in your hand
yeah.
does not mean you should
Don't-
spend it.
Yeah, you wait for the thing that's worth the removal.
Either something that's
Yeah.
worth the removal, or sometimes whenever you can get a 2-for-1, you know,
Oh, yeah.
saving your removal for if your opponent goes for a double block or similar,
Oh yeah,
where you can
I love
blow
that.
out
Yeah.
a double block. If they're using equipment or something like that, something that eats their mana for a turn.
Yeah.
There are often much more opportune times to spend removal. Now, horrific assault doesn't apply to these situations in particular because it is a
Yep.
sorcery. But just in general, using your removal early and just throwing it away when you have
Oh,
it
yeah.
is going to lead you to a lot of board states where your opponent just plays a thing and you're like, man, if only I could have killed it, I'd have won this game.
Yep.
And then you remember that 4 turns ago you spent a kill spell on
a grizzly bears. Yeah.
Yeah, on
And
something that
it's
just ultimately
cool.
doesn't matter.
Yeah. The number one thing I've seen with opponent drawing some cards there. It's good.
Opponent drawing 3 cards after having made me discard
Yep.
2 cards so far this game. Not feeling wonderful. This is not my favorite place to be.
Yeah. So as I was going on,
Yeah.
the number one thing I've seen with a lot of new Magic players is they don't think about either the bluffing tactics of holding open mana and having a card in your hand,
Sure.
and they don't think about the future of the game, and they usually will go through and spend every single resource in their hand, and then push everything onto the board, and then they're sitting there with, oh look, you've got a 2/2 that has the ability to not be blocked. Okay, well that's neat. I can see why you put that in your draft deck. And you've got this other thing that is not really doing anything, but is a really good blocker. And I have a a fistful of cards, and I have a much better plan than you, and you have telegraphed everything to me. But a lot of new players tend to just have no real sense of the future
Sure.
of the match.
Have card, play card.
Yeah, have card, play card, and just watching people do that. It's not like
It's just a learning
Yeah.
curve. Like,
yeah,
you know,
and-
when everybody starts playing this game, they
Mm-hmm.
they see these big splashy things or they read their cards
Yeah.
and they're like, okay, this is what the card does. I want to do the thing. And that's fine. That is absolutely how you start playing the game.
yeah, I'm gonna cast a 6/6 for 4. I'm gonna be real happy about that.
Yeah. So notably here, we're targeting our Eldrazi Repurposer because our opponent very easily can have interaction here. They have 4 energy already stockpiled. So if they have Galvanic Discharge specifically, we would much rather, and they do,
Oh, look at that.
they either now have to kill off our 6/6, which is the thing that they're probably concerned about, or they have to use it on the 3/3 to stop the kill spell from going off. And like for what it's worth, I think the opponent is correct here to just my thing is gonna die.
This is a very high level and tricky scenario where you're targeting something that the opponent wouldn't necessarily want to remove.
Yeah. So
And-
if we had
yeah.
targeted the Wumpus there to punch the pigeon,
It would have been a 2-for-1 basically.
yeah, our opponent gets to blow out our
Yeah.
removal. The same way that I was mentioning that you should maybe hold your removal for when it's most beneficial.
Yeah.
And so we didn't need 6 damage to kill the flying rat. 3 damage suffices. So there was no reason for us to target the 6/6 and open it up
Yeah.
to that galvanic discharge. If opponent wanted to use the discharge to kill the 6/6, then our kill spell goes through. We get to gain our life. We get to clear the flyer. Turns out opponent just drew a Gravedigg, or had a Gravedigg locked up, and is going to get back the zombie rat there. And that, fortunately we drew the mana source that we needed. If we didn't draw the land that turn, then we don't cast the breaker, and then the rat makes us discard the breaker, and we're incredibly sad. But we got a little lucky. We drew the mana source we needed. We get to cast the breaker here. The refurbished familiar is going to come down and draw them a card because, of course, it's better than a rat.
Why?
No, that card's spectacular.
Two mana spell?
No, it has affinity for artifacts.
Oh, that's even worse.
It's anywhere between 1 and 4 mana, depending.
Is this a common or uncommon?
Common.
Oh, that's disgusting. I'm throwing this into Pauper. This is going to be disgusting.
So, Wolf, if you haven't drafted this format a lot, one of the archetypes, the signpost archetypes,
you get
is
the red-black.
The Rakdos Affinity deck.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've lost with that every single time.
Excellent. Good.
But they sure did print a card that is now immediately banned in Pauper, so that's fun.
They did. Yeah, it turns out when you just print cranial plating that comes with a body in a format where cranial plating is already banned.
They could have made it an uncommon just to make it not accessible.
Yeah, but then it would you'd need it at common in this limited format.
I'm sure, but it just feels real bad.
So notably here, Breaker of Creation might have hexproof, but it sure doesn't
have protection.
Stop these two creatures from just trading with my 8/4 here. So we get in for 3. Opponent's at 8. Unfortunately, opponent is attacking us for between 6 and 7, 8 a turn.
A removal spell. Look at that.
Yeah, that kill spell doesn't matter much, but the +1/+1 counter sure does.
Yeah.
Like our 3/3 doesn't matter. The problem is we also have nothing left, right? Mm-hmm. Opponent managed to clear our board pretty well.
Yeah.
Many rats.
Yeah, it's
many zombie rats.
It's the zombie rats, and now having what you really do need is a big reach creature.
I don't have any of those.
Which I was about to say is not in this deck.
No, we didn't ever see any spawning writhing chrysalises to move into the Gruul archetype.
Yeah, you've got I think if I'm reading this correctly, that's 2-3 turns.
Oh, 2. We're super dead. Sorry for that, folks. But
yeah. Oh, and here's we're just doing
just some more 4/4. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They don't even bother putting a +1/+1 counter or equipping their thing. That's how dead I am.
They could give it menace, but they don't
need to.
Yeah.
And honestly, you shouldn't because it's your last energy.
Yeah.
Wait till if I put 2 blockers into play, then you want to give it menace, right? Or a blocker, I mean.
Let's get Serum Visions in here, see what we got.
Let's see if we find a relevant spell. Nope.
That sounds about right.
It is what it is. Neither of these do anything.
Bottom, and then
bottom.
Shuffle
Hope we're not dead.
Because, I don't know.
Here's some blockers, opponent. Am I dead? Can you kill me? If we bother to do the math. Oh, hey, look, that flyer's even bigger. Yep,
this Inventor's Axe.
That's a 7 power.
It's a fun little.
Don't worry. Yeah. We're still mathing. The math is mathing. So we have a 7 power flyer. We have an 8 power flyer.
Oh, no.
Hang on, we're not done. We're still cooking.
Stop, he's already dead.
Still cooking. 9 power flyer.
Oh yeah.
Also trigger on attack. Also menace creature.
Do you have 2 flyers? Neat.
Also give this thing menace and yeah.
Sometimes opponents just has it, and sometimes they just attack him with a 10/7.
That's good beats. We drew some lands at the end, but opponent, played the refurbished familiar 2 or 3 times that game.
Yeah.
So plenty of card advantage there.
They
played the Unfathomable Truths or whatever the 5 mana blue card is called that draws 3 cards.
Yeah.
Opponent just outground us that game.
Yeah, we talked about that.
So cheers. Good games, good beats. We did pick up 5 wins again with this draft. One of them was a no-show from an opponent, but that still is a win as far as the game is concerned. So
less fighting.
Yeah, so that was 2 drafts, 2 5/3s. 10 and 6 so far. Nothing
doing pretty good.
Yeah, no, we certainly take these, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, this has been Chris Wolfe and Mike Potente. Hope you guys are enjoying, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.